IdrA versus IdrA. Okay, they can hear us again. Woohoo! Yay! We are back and ready to go in. You're actually ready this time. You're not in chat?
I'm ready.
Because I'm just double checking.
Oh,
I'm building
set.
a little bit more dramatic
I'm
tension
psyched
while I
for
do
this.
it.
Sitting there with my finger on the trigger.
Okay, so let's go in 3. Are you sure you're ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
Right, everyone, welcome back. This is Ro16 with FXO Chef. Thank you for tuning into iCCup Television as we cover the Gigabyte StarsWar number 6. We are in the round of 16 with IdrA against Duckload IdrA, and we are now on Metalopolis. We've gotten lucky this time. We did not get the close ground spawns because this is the latter version, and we see that IdrA is going to be the green Zerg over here at the 9 o'clock position. I think he's our first person today who's not red or blue.
Very interesting. Very good point. Yep. We no longer have to say the blue Zerg or the blue whatever he is. We can now say the green whatever he is.
IdrA winning in the color micro right from the start. That's an important thing right there. Then across the map, actually in cross positions, is going to be IdrA as the red Protoss. Once again, check out Gigabyte at gigabyte.com. They're the ones sponsoring this tournament. They provide really awesome motherboards. Their killer line is specifically designed for gaming and pretty sweet. So check them out, gigabyte.com.
Also, check out Alan's, Railcoon's Twitter at twitter.com/iCCupRailcoon.
And FXO Chef's at FXO Chef.
There we go. Nicely done, nicely done.
You should check him out too, because I heard that chef guy is a cool person.
Lies. Slander.
Lies and slander?
Pretty much.
Wow, okay, so as we look back over to IdrA's base, he is sitting at 15 supply and hasn't started that spawning pool yet, so it looks like he is going to be going for the hatch first. This is not an edited version, so this is quite a bit of a risk from IdrA. He didn't actually scout the close position yet, so he doesn't know if IdrA is actually there. He might not actually be aware of the fact that close positions are possible on this map, just because of the fact that every other tournament doesn't allow for that.
I will say, though, interestingly enough, if the probe hasn't scouted you by this time and you're close positions, it means your opponent is doing something weird. Generally, they're going to scout you very, very early, and you're not going to have the ability to hatch first if they're in close positions. The fact that the scout is this late, it generally means he's in that far away position.
And that's actually something that used to happen back in Brood War. Players got really good at noticing like when the scout was coming, so they could guess where their opponent was based on like when the scout entered their base. So then you'd actually see people like they'd hang out with their worker, they'd see the creep, and then they leave. Then they wait outside of your vision and try and throw off your timing on when the scout came in by doing that. And look at this pylon going down for IdrA, prompting a lot of drones to come off the line from IdrA, trying to chase down this probe, as well as get a couple of drones onto this pylon at the same time. There's actually no forge from IdrA, so he was just forcing IdrA to pull a lot of drones here. But the hatchery is just about to finish, so that's not too bad, as they're able to immediately start mining on the natural.
Yep, not that bad for IdrA, as you might have once thought, because of that huge amount of drone pull. However, IdrA here is now just macroing up behind that. He did have one AFK probe for a little bit of time, but that's okay. And IdrA now just picking off that probe. I imagine very soon he will get that plus whenever he can. Just in the meantime, he's just getting as much of economy as he possibly can.
Yeah, for people who are trying to read too much into the IdrA tweeting, we actually asked him if he'd tweet it, seeing as he has like 20,000 followers on Twitter, and he actually said yes. So we don't know whether he won or lost, and he seemed to be in a good mood and tweeted it for us. So it's not necessarily a spoiler.
Since there was no game 3, though, we gotta.
It's not that. He's joking. Don't take him seriously. We don't know that yet.
Oh yeah, I'm just kidding, guys. But anyway, there's that Stalker. Very interestingly, again, he also wants to get this drone out of the way. So if you're a Protoss and you really want to deal with that drone really quickly, you just get that Stalker, and then behind that you get the next sentry. IdrA actually looks like he's just playing a standard 3 gateway fast expand build, and IdrA on the other hand just macroed up. He's getting up speed for his Zerglings, and it's basically just going for a large amount of drones. If you notice, it's 23 drones to 28 probes. However, because IdrA does have his second base, even though you're on his third base really early.
Yeah,
that's actually really.
If you look at that, he actually started his third hatch before IdrA started his Nexus. So
yeah,
that is an extremely quick third hatchery while he's droning up at the same time. So his drone count's a little bit lower than it normally would be at this point, but because of that third hatchery, if he gets away with it, he's going to literally have a macro explosion in the mid-game, even more than what you'd normally see. So, you know, it is a bit of a risk, but...
And White Raw isn't going to see it, which would have been really, really important. If White Raw had went up there and seen that third hatch, he could have canceled
Oh, he does see it with the probe right as the speed finishes. Wow, that was really close. Speed finished on the Zerglings right as he scouted the hatchery, so he wasn't quite able to stop that probe, and he does scout it out. And that's going to help White Raw a lot, because seeing that super fast third hatchery means, well, I know that you're a little bit lighter on units. Maybe I can pressure you with these early sentries. Normally, pushing out with this triple gateway sentry expand is just to force him to stop droning, but at this point, he might actually have an opportunity to do a little bit of damage. And IdrA, because of the fact that that hatch got scouted, is actually starting to produce a couple roaches on top of his drones.
Yep, I'm actually kind of worried for White Raw here, though. His build isn't the greatest against what IdrA's doing. He went and got a really, really early robotics facility. That would be great against any sort of early roach burrow. That would be very good if you were worried about what your opponent was doing. But when you see this sort of third hatch, you can kind of get a good idea of what's going on. And you don't really need to get that early robotics facility. I would say I should have gotten maybe a couple of gates. Well, not shouldn't have, but
it would have been helpful.
Just to build a little bit of more pressure on. And IdrA is moving in here with a few Zerglings, picking off one sentry, which is actually a big deal. Actually getting a second sentry too. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
taking down sentries in the early game, people don't understand how important that is, but you have to remember each sentry is 100 gas, and generally the Protoss player does want to maintain just about 5 or 6 sentries in this early game. So now White Raw's going to have to consider rebuilding those sentries, so that's possibly 200 gas that can't go into tech while he's got his robotics, while he's cranking upgrades. Delaying his tech by 200 gas at this point in the game is a big deal. So when you can focus down those sentries in the early game, it helps a lot. On the other side of the field, IdrA has his third base up. There's drones on it. He's starting to make those roaches at the same time. If you look at the units tab, he did use all of his Zerglings for that little attack, but he got 2 sentries, so it's going to work out quite fine for him. And IdrA is going to scout the third Nexus by White Raw, see exactly when it got dropped, because it is very low health. And knowing exactly when they started that Nexus gives them a really good sense of timing. So IdrA's sitting in a really good position here in the early game.
Definitely. If you notice, guys, what IdrA really could go and try and kill that third. You could actually just, basically you do a double-pronged attack where you kind of have half your forces in the natural, half your forces in the third. You can at least try and do that. I'm not sure if he could actually kill it, but it's definitely a possibility because he has these roaches out and he has such a nice economy, and because he picked off a few of those sentries early. However, White Raw is kind of preparing for that. He's getting those Immortals out instead of going for Colossus, which is what you need to do. Imagine here if he didn't have those Immortals, how open he would be to Roach play right now. So I do like that play by White Raw. And now we're just going to have to see if White Raw can transition into something like Colossus, and IdrA might do something with dropships. Yep, he's getting Burrow, actually.
Yeah, he's getting Burrow and Roach speed, and actually had just about 11 Roaches in production there, so he's making a large number of Roaches at the moment. He will have that Burrow upgrade. I believe White Raw has an observer, but I don't know where it is. It's off flying somewhere in the map. Oh, it's in IdrA's base. There it is.
Cute little observer.
It's a flying probe. Meow, meow.
Yep.
And I mean, that's a lot of roaches on the field here for IdrA, just a couple, and he's actually going to find a free Immortal in the center of the map. What the hell is that Immortal doing there? That's actually really painful for White Raw. Wow.
That's almost game changing, to be quite honest. That's the equivalent of like losing a queen, or even more in the early game. And now IdrA can just move in. Look at that, not even getting good force fields. Well, turning them into good force fields.
Yeah. Oh, he's got to be really careful. He doesn't want to get force fielded into that corner. I think White Raw ran mostly out of energy there. Actually, still got a decent number of force fields. That was dangerous. And now he's going to get another free Immortal here just because of some poor positioning, and be able to take a couple of Stalkers on top of that. He's going to lose just a couple of Roaches for that second Immortal. And if that first Immortal was a big deal, the second one definitely going to help as well. Like we saw, the Observer was all the way across the map, so he actually cannot see these Roaches when they're burrowed. He's focusing down the last Immortal, and these sentries are almost completely out of energy. They're just finished as well, so they're going to heal very, very quickly when they burrow. IdrA is just pushing very aggressively forward. White Raw finished his robotics play, but can't start a Colossus. This is looking really good for IdrA, and I don't think that White Raw can hold this.
No, I agree with you 100%. Losing that Immortal in the center not doing the greatest of force fields and just not having your observer there just really hurt White Raw, and IdrA taking advantage of it nicely, kind of doing that thing where I was talking about where you deal with the third, but instead of just going all straight for the natural, which is another way to do it, and White Raw doesn't have an answer.
Yeah, that was really well played there by IdrA. I mean, capitalizing on a couple key mistakes from White Raw, but IdrA still played it really well. And that's what really good players do. They see a situation, they see their opponent make a mistake, and then they punish it, and that's what IdrA did. So, really well played by him. If you look at the end of the game, he was up 100 food and was still producing a lot of roaches, rallied very aggressively across the map. So, White Raw just had to throw out the GG. IdRA's going to take the first game in the series. And wow, that's a really nice intro into this matchup here. Special Galactics. Wow, that's a good pun. So we are going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back with game number 2 between White Raw and IdrA. So stay tuned. We'll be back in just a moment.
I'll be right back to you as I start my doorbell.
Okay.
For my Chinese.
Yeah, IdrA was up 100 food over White Raw at the end of the game there. So it was a, pretty significant advantage. Oh my god, everybody's messaging me on Skype. Okay, so we should be ready to go here in just a second, guys. I'm just getting everything set up on my end. Sheth is answering his doorbell. Might be his food arriving. So we're going to take just a moment before we get started on the second game. Thanks everybody for tuning into ICCup Television. For those of you who are still tuning in, Gigabyte StarsWar is a very big Chinese tournament. The top 4 players are going to be playing in a live LAN in Shanghai, China. This is a round of 16, so players are 2 rounds away from making it to the LAN event in China, which is going to be a really big deal. While we're waiting on Sheth, you can check out our Twitters. Mine is iCCupRailcoon on Twitter. Sheth is FXOChef. And of course there is ICCup Television, which is iCCupTV on Twitter. If you check out our other websites. Hey!
Hey dude.
Welcome back.
Thank you,
Is that your food?
Yep, that was my Chinese food. I'm actually going to do this next cast entirely while eating Chinese food, so my voice is going to sound like...
Wow, do you care to repeat that?
No, we're good.
I didn't quite hear it the first time. What was it that your voice is going to sound like?
It's going to sound like Elaine is a fanboy. That's what it's going to sound like.
Wow. So unmanner.
I know.
Unmanner.
I know. Such is life. Well, let me load it up. I actually haven't yet. I'm a little bit slow, guys.
Wow. You heard it here first. Sheth is slow. Just saying.
Yep. Just saying.
Just saying. No, thanks a lot for coming aboard. This is a lot of fun.
No
It's
problem,
been forever
man.
since I got to cast with you. Not counting the one time where my co-caster had to leave and you just randomly jumped in. Because that was fun too.
Yeah. No, I like casting. I mean, I like playing too, but sometimes you need a break and you're just like, I want to cast. And I actually cannot load this replay. I'm having your problem.
Yeah, it's on Tal'Darim, so it might be like one of the funky GSTL versions.
Okay.
Oh, this is actually... This is the half mineral version.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you probably have to log on to Battle.net and download the map.
Okay. I can do this.
I'm not sure why this is the half mineral version.
I do not know.
But that actually changes this map quite a bit. I have to be taking that into mind as we watch this game, because one of the interesting things that happens with Zerg players in this map is when they take their second and third base, normally they take their third base at a timing where it'll actually mine out at the same time as their natural. And that's actually a really big deal. And one of the reasons why they changed this map to have the rocks and then full minerals. Because you suddenly go from being on 3 bases to 1. And for a Zerg player, you're really counting on your ability to re-macro and reproduce your army. That's a big hit.
Yep, very true, man. Very true. I do love being a mod. People who ask for bans, I can apply them to them. It's nice, nice. We do have Mod Bob here with Slar and iCCupTV as mods, which is really awesome. Do love our mods here, and of course it's awesome casting with you around.
Shoutouts to StarsWar who actually got mod for creating a pretty last-minute awesome graphic for the Todd Demaga match.
Oh, yeah? Chinese food is good, Gunrun. He posted that. But yeah. Kind of off topic. Like, oh, Chinese food is good, man.
So do you have the replay loaded up? Are we ready to start game number 2?
All right, to go.
So we're gonna get started here. You're like not trolling chat right now. You're ready to start?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay.
I've already said my whole "there's no third game" thing. I'm good.
Well, why do you have to troll like this, man?
I don't know. It's fun. Like, come on.
You know, if actually IdrA wins 2-0,
they're gonna think I was serious.
Yeah, they're gonna think you were serious.
I'm not serious. I have no idea.
Okay.
I hope IdrA wins 2-0 because I'm rooting for him.
So let's get going. In 3,